Have you ever wondered what really happens to the people who disappear on Halloween night? The ones who vanish without a trace, leaving nothing but scattered candy and unanswered questions? After hearing this story, you might realize that some mysteries are better left unsolved. The first child vanished at 6:43 p.m. on Harvest Lane. 10-year-old Joey Matthews, dressed as Spider-Man, there one moment and gone the next. His plastic pumpkin basket left abandoned on Mrs. Henderson's front porch, candy scattered across her welcome mat like bright wrapped bones. Detective Rachel Morgan arrived at 7:12 p.m., just as the second child disappeared. She heard the scream first, high and sharp, cut off with terrible suddenness. By the time she reached Cedar Court, all that remained was another abandoned candy basket and a group of terrified parents clutching their children close. It was someone in a mask, a trembling mother told her. One of those cheap dollar store masks, you know. The plain white ones with the black eyes. But something was wrong with how they moved. Rachel knew exactly which mask the woman meant. She'd seen it earlier that day when she'd stopped at Valley Dollar for coffee. A whole rack of identical white masks, smooth and featureless, except for two black oval eyes and a thin painted smile. They'd been selling them all month for Halloween. But the one she'd seen being worn by a tall figure in the store's security footage at 6:40 p.m., 3 minutes before Joey Matthews vanished, hadn't looked cheap or plastic. Through the grainy video, its surface had seemed to pulse and shift, the eye holes appearing to leak shadows down its pristine white surface like black tears. And the way it moved, no human spine could bend that way. By 8 p.m., 4 more children had vanished. Each disappearance followed the same pattern. Witnesses reported seeing someone in the white mask watching from a distance. Then blackness would sweep in like a sudden fog, and when it cleared, another child would be gone. Rachel's phone buzzed. Another report, this time from her own neighborhood. Her heart stopped. Her daughter Emma was out trick-or-treating with friends. She broke every traffic law getting home, emergency lights painting the streets in urgent red and blue. Children and parents scattered as her cruiser screeched around corners. Every masked figure she passed made her grip the wheel tighter. The streets were emptying now, word of the disappearances spreading through panicked texts and phone calls. Jack-o'-lanterns grinned mockingly from darkened porches. Fallen leaves skittered across abandoned sidewalks like scurrying spiders. She found Emma's friend group huddled under a streetlight, but Emma wasn't with them. "Where is she?" Rachel demanded, her voice cracking. "The person in the mask," Sophie, Emma's best friend, sobbed. They were following us. Emma said she recognized them, said it was her dad." Rachel's blood turned to ice. Emma's father had died 3 years ago in a car accident that still haunted Rachel's nightmares. "Which way?" They pointed toward Harper Woods, the small forest at the edge of town. A place where local legends said the veil between worlds grew thin on Halloween night. Rachel ran, her flashlight beam cutting through branches and shadows. The temperature dropped with each step, her breath fogging in air that tasted like grave dirt and ancient things. She found them in a small clearing. The figure was impossibly tall, its limbs too long and jointed in all the wrong places. It wore a black suit that seemed to swallow light, and atop its twisted neck sat that horrible white mask. Emma stood before it, frozen in place, one hand reaching up toward its outstretched fingers. "Emma, don't move!" Rachel screamed. The masked figure turned, and Rachel felt reality slip sideways. Because the mask wasn't sitting on its face, it was sinking into it, the plastic melting and flowing like wax, revealing glimpses of something underneath that her mind refused to process. Where the eye holes had been, twin voids of absolute darkness wept shadows that hissed and writhed when they hit the ground. "Mommy?" Emma's voice was distant, dreamy. "Daddy came back for us. He wants to take us somewhere special." "That's not your father," Rachel said, drawing her gun with trembling hands. "Emma, baby, please come here." The thing wearing the mask made a sound like rustling autumn leaves and children's screams. "Such fierce love," it said in a voice that echoed from somewhere far beneath the earth. "But she speaks truth, little one. I am not your father. I am something far older. Something that was here before fathers existed, before humans crawled from the mud and dreamed up their gods and demons." It reached up and began to peel away the mask, revealing what lay beneath. "I am hunger. I am the dark that children fear. I am the thing that takes and takes and takes." The mask came away, and Rachel saw its true face. In that moment, her mind shattered like glass. No human consciousness was meant to comprehend what writhed and twisted beneath that simple plastic mask. It was absence and presence, void and mass, a geometry of horror that denied every natural law. "Your kind has always amused me," the thing said, its voice now a chorus of screams and whispers. "So confident in your weapons, your laws, your love. But in the end, you're all just meat wearing masks of civilization." Rachel tried to speak, to move, to do anything, but her body refused to respond. The horror of its true form had paralyzed her completely. "Watch, little hunter," it purred. "Watch as I show you what lies beneath all your precious masks of order and safety." With terrible gentleness, it placed its mask over Emma's face. The child didn't resist, didn't scream, didn't even blink as the plastic began to melt and flow into her skin. "Emma, please," Rachel managed to whisper. "Fight it." But Emma wasn't Emma anymore. Where her daughter had stood, something else now moved, something that wore her shape like an ill-fitting costume. When it smiled, too many teeth gleamed in the darkness. "Your daughter is gone," the thing said. "Gone to a place where all masks fall away, where all pretenses of humanity are stripped bare. Would you like to join her?" Rachel tried to run, but her legs wouldn't move. She could only watch as the thing that had been her daughter produced another white mask from nowhere. This one weeping shadows and singing with voices that no human throat could produce. "Don't worry," the creature said as it approached her. "Where we're going, you won't need to pretend anymore. No more playing at being strong, being brave, being human. Just endless hunger and eternal night." The last thing Rachel Morgan saw was that simple white mask descending over her face, its surface rippling like living flesh. Then the darkness took her, and she understood at last what lurked behind every mask, behind every human face, a void waiting to be filled. They found her badge and gun the next morning, laid out carefully beside 8 empty candy baskets. But Rachel Morgan was gone, along with her daughter and the other missing children. Some say that on Halloween nights, if you walk through Harper Woods, you might glimpse tall figures moving through the trees, wearing white masks that weep black tears. They say the masks seem to watch you as you pass, and if you look too long, you might notice something familiar in their movements, something that reminds you of people who vanished on Halloween nights long ago. Because not all masks are just plastic and paint. Some are doorways to places where humanity is just another costume to be shed. And on Halloween night, when the veil is thin and the darkness hungry, the one in the mask still walks our streets, still offers its terrible gift to those who dare to look beneath its surface. So tonight, as you pass trick-or-treaters in their costumes and masks, pay careful attention. Watch for movements that seem just slightly wrong, for shadows that fall in impossible directions. And if you see someone in a plain white mask, someone who stands too tall and moves too smoothly, don't run. It's already too late. If this story left you checking the shadows, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more terrifying tales. Leave a comment below sharing your own encounters with mysterious figures on Halloween night. And remember, some masks aren't meant to be removed.